I have made at least 2 videos on this channel opining that the Muslims should boycott watching the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup events. This was in reaction to the agenda planned by the European participating teams to wear armbands that promote the LGBTQ during the global tournament. However, I found myself watching one of the matches 2 days ago. Like, seriously? Well, in this video, I'm sharing with you what transpired. And at the end of the video, I will share with you my updated opinion pertaining to the event. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a new video here on One Baba Salam. If you are new here, my name is Baba Salam. Besides this channel, I run gsalam.net, a website for learning and sharing Islam the authentic way. Al-Bushra by Gsalam, a multimedia window for gsalam.net on YouTube as well as on Facebook and other social media handles. I am also the guy behind tvq.academy, a virtual school for teaching and learning the Quran. Now, get your cup of coffee or tea and let's do this. Bismillah.
أتيتك يا خالقي باكيا ودمع الأسى كل حين يزيد فقد قلت في الآي لا تقنطوا وإن تعف عني فذا يوم عيد وإن تعف عني فذا يوم عيد.
Welcome back. I have been thinking of making a video about the addiction of watching football that some Muslims are afflicted with, while the ongoing FIFA World Cup held in Qatar continues to make headlines for different reasons. However, I decided to push that project aside until the hype of the World Cup is over. Then again, 2 days ago, after one of my online classes at night at around 10 p.m. local time here in Malaysia, I went out to get dinner. Yes, a late dinner. Coincidentally, or should I say accidentally, upon arriving, a FIFA World Cup match was screened live at the coffee shop. Well, it was the match between Ghana and South Korea. I am from Ghana, but I wasn't bothered at all. I just got myself a comfortable seat because usually when I go there, I don't just go there to eat. I also do my work while spending the time. So I will usually take along my laptop and do some work. When I sat down, I realized it was towards the end of the first half of the match when Ghana was leading South Korea with 2-0. People know that I am from Ghana, but not many of them know that I am not into watching football and other normalized entertainments. I remained not bothered for some time. And all of a sudden, as the second half of the game started, I realized I had started to pay attention to the progress of the match. Not long, and the Koreans scored their first goal. And within the next 3 minutes, they had leveled the goals. There was a significant number of Malaysians at the eatery watching the game, but I was surprised seeing some of them jumping. Yes, jumping out of excitement when the Koreans scored the draw goal. It was as if they were Koreans, or it was as if the match was between Malaysia and Ghana. What is going on? What is wrong with these people? I asked myself. But soon after that, I realized that it is the human nature. It is a sense of belonging that is talking. After all, it just makes sense for a Malaysian to feel closer to Korea than to Africa. Thanks to the media, thanks to K-pop and K-drama, and thanks to some of our Nigerian brothers who have succeeded in tarnishing the image of the beautiful Nigeria and Africa at large. I also realized that the decision to support a team or not support a team is nothing but a mindset. Yes, it is a mindset that can be changed at any time. For instance, had the match been between Malaysia and South Korea, the same ones who were supporting Korea or South Korea over Ghana and jumping around will be the ones who will be jumping in support for Malaysia over South Korea. My heart started to pump fast indeed. I didn't want to see Ghana losing. But then again, why should I engage my heart in this? But I told myself, I'm going to stay and observe myself. At that point, there was no intention whatsoever for making this video. When Ghana scored the leading goal, I became excited but restless. Well, I was hooked. Also, the match was not over yet. The Koreans had intensified their attacks and the Ghanaians had strengthened their defense. Interestingly, the 10 minutes additional time or injury time they call it felt to me like eternal. But then something was not right. What was that? Please know that I'm not into football whatsoever. However, I couldn't believe myself reacting the way I did. Subhanallah. Earlier that day, I drafted a reflection wondering about how some Muslims waste our time watching football over learning to master our recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha. So I finalized that reflection at the same venue before the end of the match and published it on Facebook. When this happened, right there at the coffee shop, I said to myself, this is the only match you have seen so far, unwillingly or even willingly, for over 20 minutes. And yet, look at yourself. If this can happen to me or anyone in my situation, then what more happens to those who have been hooked to this and have gotten addicted? How are my fellow Ghanaians back home and elsewhere composing themselves in front of screens? And your guess is as good as I assumed.
Ghana. Now, your fans' reaction, their custom is a fans, and your GA parties, higher the principal speech of Kumasi, a Doom, Asada House, yes, Hannah, a course, our Hanum, at his idea custom, Kakra, any.
Why did my heart pump so fast for the game? Why did I immerse into the game? Why did I feel happy for Ghana's victory? Why did I not wish South Korea to win over Ghana? All that happened because I am human. The same chemicals that reacted inside me is the same that was boiling inside the jumpy Malaysians who were saddened by South Korea's loss. However, this excitement or sorrow has a price to be paid. What is that price? This incident happened on the 28th of November. That was a week after the beginning of the World Cup. But I only had this feeling after exposing myself to the game. The truth is, the human nature reacts to its surrounding and environment. In other words, if you expose yourself to the wind and not wearing proper clothing, you are more than likely to catch cold. If you expose yourself to COVID-19 patients without proper protection, you are risking getting infected and passing it to your loved ones at home. If you stay close to the fire, your clothes is likely to catch it than not. If you stand close to a big hole, you have higher possibility of falling in it than not. And the examples can be endless. While I'm putting the blame on the exposure on its side also has something else to put the blame on. That is the dopamine in your brain or the dopamine in my brain. Before you ask me what is dopamine, first ask yourself, as a Muslim who is closely following the matches of the World Cup, since the beginning of the tournament, how much have you achieved if compared to the usual you? An honest answer will reveal that one has lost more than he has gained. That is, if he has gained anything at all. Among the losses are lack of focus in prayers. The fluctuation of your blood pressure during games is another thing. Unnecessary anxiety for upcoming games cannot be ignored. And wasting time to watch and more time offline as well as online for arguments and debates about what have been watched.
English Premier League. Everton 1, Manchester United 3. Crystal Palace 4, Leeds United 1. Chelsea 4, Sheffield United 1. West Ham 1, Fulham 0. Sunday, West Bromwich 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Leicester City 1. Wolverhampton 0. Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1. Arsenal 0, Aston Village 3.
If one has not lost anything at all, then his prayers have been affected. No matter what, no matter how. Let's be honest. So how does dopamine come in the picture? In our layman language, dopamine is a chemical that releases in the brain. When it releases, it makes you feel good, excited, awake, happy, motivated, and exposes you to all the so-called good feelings. Since it releases, then it may release in a low level or a high level. When one has low level of dopamine, he is likely less motivated and likely unhappy. When this state of lack of motivation and unhappiness continues, anxiety and depression may soon follow. On the other hand, when the dopamine is at a high level, one can feel high as well. And when it continues to raise its level, then one should anticipate addiction. The good news is a balanced or moderate level of dopamine keeps your feelings, judgments, and actions moderate. The release of dopamine in the human brain is caused by many factors, including food, actions, interactions, status, achievements, and spirituality. For example, when you go for exercise, after the exercise, some amount of dopamine will release in your brain, and that will make you feel good, energetic, and motivated. Likewise, when you eat a bar of chocolate, some amount of dopamine will release in your brain, and that will make you feel good as well. Now, the next time you are presented with two options, the option of going out for exercise versus the option of eating a bar of chocolate, both of which will release dopamine upon completion, your brain is likely to trigger you to choose what makes you happy with less effort. And therefore, you are likely to choose the chocolate and not going out for exercise. With that, you are exposed and will sooner be a victim of chocolate consumption because you will need it to be happy and you will remain moody until you take it. With that, one can understand that watching football releases dopamine in the brain. Praying or reading the Quran also releases dopamine in the brain. But these two are not the same because one comes without effort and the other two come with effort and determination. This is beside the fact that ibadah is involved in one or the two of them, reading Quran and praying, and it is not involved in the other, which is watching football. The thing is, when the mind becomes used to a certain amount of dopamine, it starts to ask for an increment in the dosage. This is when addiction kicks in. When you find yourself scrolling through Instagram or TikTok on your phone non-stop, try to pause and ask yourself, why am I not having enough? Why don't I get the same excitement as I used to get when I first started using the app? It is because the amount of dopamine generated by your usage of TikTok, Instagram, and for that matter, social media has stabilized in your brain and it needs more dose to make you happy or happier. Sadly, while it keeps asking for more supplies of the dopamine, the content available on your smartphone all look the same and are unable to supply extra dosage. Therefore, you become trapped in there. Neither do you reap happiness, nor are you able to withdraw easily and free yourself. Now, just like exercising, eating chocolate, and hooking up on social media activate your dopamine, so do coffee, caffeine, cigarette, and of course, watching football and entertainment. Don't talk about zina, pornography, and drugs yet. But all that can lead to addiction. Only that there is good addiction and bad addiction. Better than either this is to be moderate and remain in safer zone. Since addiction starts with exposure, we can overcome it by undoing the exposure. That is by withdrawing. And to do that, we should do dopamine detox. It is easier to increase the level of dopamine than reduce it. When it is high, we have addiction. When it is low, we have anxiety. Now, we want to reduce it as far as time wasting is concerned. So get ready for dopamine detox. You will want to cut down whatever that brings you excitement but doesn't make you a better Muslim. If something brings you excitement and makes you a better Muslim, then it automatically falls under acts of worship, ibadah. It doesn't have to be prayers only or Quran reading. In Islam, anything permissible or any permissible action that has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the equation is an act of worship. Here we are not talking about halal and haram. However, by achieving this, we will carry out more halal deeds and abstain from more non-halal deeds and activities and fruitless deeds. That way, we will be more productive Muslims. This includes cutting down your use of social media, your listening of music, your consumption of harmful and toxic foods, and certainly your watching of football and entertainment. These are the exposures. The longer the time you spend in a successful withdrawal, the easier you can control your intake and participation when you are back to it. That is why when a smoker withdraws from smoking during the entire month of Ramadan, he is likely able to quit for good because the dopamine has withdrawn and subsided during the month of Ramadan as far as smoking is concerned. Mind you, this comes with extreme struggles and anxiety. However, it is rewarding and worthwhile. It is difficult to live without social media, especially if you use it for good cause. But it is necessary to have periods of break. For instance, if you are able to take 1 month break successfully, you will be able thereafter to schedule and control your usage when you are back. Meaning you will be able to take Sundays off or weekends off, 2 days a week off, or alternate days usage of social media. To avoid falling in the same trap as I did when I watched the Ghana versus South Korea match, I made sure the following day to take my dinner before the class so that I didn't have to coincide with unnecessary heart pumps again. If you are able to achieve this, meaning if you are able to adjust your dopamine flow or level, you will become calmer, you will become productive, and most importantly, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will improve. Our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot improve when we cannot focus in our prayers, when we delay our prayers unnecessarily, and when we waste our time and life in aimless activities. Watching football is certainly a fruitless activity. I said watching football. I didn't say playing football for recreation or for fitness. The different forms of addiction that we fall victim to happen because we are humans. And as humans, we are all weak. Each of us has his weakness. وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. And man has been created weak. But your weakness surfaces when you expose yourself to the wrong things, the wrong activities, and the wrong environment. It is okay to appear weak when you are exposed to good deeds and righteous challenges. In the end, the decision to do dopamine detox regarding wasting time in watching football, and for that matter, social media and whatnot, is solely yours. And believe me, none can stop you if you challenge yourself for your own good. The world will not collapse if you stop wasting your time on watching football, no matter how global it is. But as a Muslim, you have a lot to lose if you insist on wasting your time aimlessly. So why will you want to depress yourself by yourself? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard our wills and actions, and may He grant us good ending as Muslims. May Allah safeguard our intentions and sincerity and subject us to good and righteous causes at all times. Until our next video, I leave you in Allah's protection. Wassalamu alaikum.
أتيتك يا خالقي باكيا ودمع الأسى كل حين يزيد فقد قلت في الآي لا تقنطوا وإن تعف عني فذا يوم عيد وإن تعف عني فذا يوم عيد